Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sorry, my voice is a bit weak. I just had some sickness. Alhamdulillah. Let's continue from last time where we're left, inshallah. Right. So we were talking about the issue of the. So we're going to discuss a bit the issue of the satanic. What's called the Salman Rushdie satanic verses, things that were mentioned in or connect to Surah Al-Najm. Right. So there's been a claim. There's been a claim about hadith or something that is not authentic, but people obviously they love this stuff, so someone ran with it. Some scholars have discussed it, and this whole Salman Rushdie, he basically wrote a book called The Satanic Verses. Okay, and he was knighted by the British Empire, the UK. Obviously, they love to always oppose the Muslims. And anyway, basically it goes something like this, where when the Prophet, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Fara'aytum Lata wal Uzza," have you seen Lat wal Uzza, wa Manat al-Thalithatu al-Ukhra, and Manat, third one? They claim that the Prophet ﷺ said these are high-placed intercessors, meaning that their interception is accepted. So they claim that the Prophet ﷺ made shirk, basically. And that's why the Sahabas came back from Abyssinia, because they heard that Quraysh entered Islam, or that, basically they settled, and the Prophet ﷺ accepted part of the Quraysh's claim. So therefore now they're friends, like khalas. It's like we can worship Allah, we can worship Allah, Al-Uzza. So now it's okay. Obviously this was just the works of shaitan, nothing like that happened at all. But when you read Surah Al-Najm, it's very clear. It doesn't make sense whatsoever because it's a whole refutation of shirk. Right? But people will lie and cheat and try to, obviously, the Prophet's life is surrounded with a lot of accusations, and people have always tried to disprove his life and his hadith and confuse people till today. The only thing that's different today, maybe back, it was all about attacking the Prophet ﷺ and trying to destroy his credibility, while today it is lying about the Prophet ﷺ, and it's also destroying his credibility and trying to distort what he has said. But it's also about today, it's about watering down what he said. There's two types of attacks that are taking place today. Number one, again, which is the old one, it is distorting, trying to criticize the Prophet ﷺ, that this is not right. Same stuff that was there from the beginning. However, there's a new phenomenon. And that new phenomenon is none other than distorting or watering down the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ by Muslims themselves. And this is very, very dangerous, because with the enemies, okay, they're trying to lie, they're trying to, But with the Muslims, they come in the same shape, clothes as you, claiming the same allegiance, yet cheating people and basically tricking them into watering down the deen, lying about the Prophet ﷺ with the intention of watering down the deen. And just yesterday we were talking about someone like that, who is, in a sense, you could say, munafiq. They're munafiqeen. And today, this week, I am in Romania, and I'm visiting the Muslim community here in the southern part of Romania. And it's found so much politics, like so many things happening. And there are people who are trying to destroy Islam from the inside. Even though obviously it's such a small number, or you would think that people would unite it and work together towards promoting Islam. This is needed. There are quite a lot of people, but most of them are very ignorant. Yet to find people fighting against Islam from the inside, wearing the caps and the hats of Muslims, and even of so-called leaders of the Muslim community. Yet you find them lying, deceiving, and distorting Islam from the inside, watering down basically liberalism and cheating, lying, and stealing from the community, all in the name of Islam, because they can, right? Because they're a leader. So you find this phenomenon taking place from that time of the Prophet ﷺ, right? You find this taking place from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So nothing new, yet things have changed a bit, and now you have your own Muslims watering everything down. So with they call it the satanic, because there is a narration where supposedly these words were said, and then this is the work of Satan, and he throws in sometimes inspiration, and they basically made a whole claim which is zero there. There's nothing to it, but that the Prophet ﷺ basically accepted the intercession of Allat, Al-Uzza, and Al-Manat. And the Quraysh were so happy that when the end of Surah Al-Najm was recited, where it actually asked people to make sujood, they all made sujood. So everyone witnessed this, and they told the words traveled fast, and the people from Abyssinia thought or heard that Quraysh entered Islam, and that this animosity between the Prophet ﷺ and them finished. This is the incident of the high cranes, it calls them, or the satanic verses. And as I said, the Prophet ﷺ had nothing to do with that. He always refuted the shirk, and he never was the shaitan able to trick him. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى, when revelation was given, okay? And in the end, no matter what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established clearly Tawheed in every verse of the Quran. But these people tried everything to deviate the path of the Prophet ﷺ. You know that. Everything. So, this is Salman Rushdie, this Indian Pakistani man. He wrote a book, a novel. It's supposed to be like one of the best novels. And Paul did that, brought huge scandals around amongst the Muslim world. And I think at that time, Ayatollah Khomeini gave a fatwa for Rushdie to be killed. Interesting enough, I'm not sure if any of the other ulama gave any fatwas on this, but some people tried to kill Salman Rushdie, and he's still alive and kicking somewhere in the UK, and he is knighted. And this is when you realize, right, how important allegiances are. And Salman Rushdie was knighted because of writing the book, because of insulting the Muslims. That's why he was knighted. Okay, and the queen who knighted him, of course, she basically, threw this huge weight in the face of the Muslim Islam. There were people who claimed that she was a friend of the Muslims and that, she's there to help the Muslims. And how many Muslim countries they were basically kissing her feet, yeah. So, great lesson to be learned in the Ummah. Number one, you cannot trust these people. Number two, they will never stop insulting and attacking. And number three, you don't kiss their feet, and bend over them. Yeah, you can be nice and kind and peaceful, but do not be a fool. No, you don't want to be a fool. To the point where they disregard you like that. They insult you like that, right? This was a full insult to all the Muslims in the world, right? You have to understand that the Muslims, we love the Prophet ﷺ more than we love ourselves. And this is an insult to every single Muslim. But they knew that. They knew that this is going to happen. They knew that it's going to reach to that level of international recognition. And that's exactly what they did. No. So this is that incident, and this is why they came back. Okay? Now, let's go down. Keep going. Yeah, this just explains the whole thing that I've just summarized and explained for you. So skip the whole thing. Go down. Okay, let me see. Yeah, this is obviously we're speaking about Ruqayyah. And we know the Uthman and Ruqayyah, they came back, okay, to Mecca from Abyssinia, right? But they migrated to Yathrib after. So they made the second migration. Okay, so Ruqayyah had two migrations. Now, 2 years before the migration to Medina, Ruqayyah gave birth to the only child for Uthman, and his name was Abdullah. SubhanAllah. The boy used to fill the life of his parents with happiness. Obviously, they're very happy, and you can see the strength of the bond of the Prophet ﷺ with Uthman because of the relation. Now, let's go down. He did die later on. There's a narration that said that he died. A rooster pecked him in the eyes, it seems, and it infected. Back in those days, you had no antibiotics and so on. So yeah, the kids would die, by the way, in a young stage. May Allah protect any man and any woman for feeling that. Even the Prophet himself, we know, he lost his children, right? All except Fatima. But even before the daughters, the 6 daughters, he lost Ibrahim and, his, I think, Al-Qasim, yani, some narrations say that. So he lost them before, like talking about when they're young. And this was a very common. So Uthman lost his son, subhanAllah. So you can imagine, may Allah protect from that. Now, let's go down. His wife was sick. We know that. Uthman radiallahu, he missed the battle of with her. No. And we know that Ruqayyah passed away at that time. The Prophet ﷺ entered upon Uthman's house because he was shocked by the news of his daughter's death. And Fatima was there always standing by her sister's side. As we know, they grew up together, mashallah, and they loved each other so much. And you can see here the Prophet ﷺ going through this pain over and over again of losing, subhanAllah. It's like Allah was straining his heart. Because when you, a'udhu billah, lose something in your life, it really does qualify as a big trauma. But if you know how to handle it and how to think about it, it can become a lesson, a teacher that will teach you how to control your emotions, make you stronger, even though it's so painful. The Prophet ﷺ became such a stronger man to be able to lead this effort and this dawah, because sometimes mercy is weakness. Even though the Prophet ﷺ, he was the most merciful. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. However, that mercy can become weakness. And Allah was teaching him through these very difficult events in his life on how to handle his emotions. Now, let's go down. Down. It was the Prophet ﷺ who made the janazah and buried her in Al-Baqi, which, as you know, is in Medina. Now, then he had to return on to struggle with the da'wah, to deliver the message. There's no period of mourning when you don't do anything, like in some cultures. You know, you bury your stuff for life, may Allah protect, a'udhu billah. You bury, your family, and then you return back to da'wah. There's no break for those of us who maybe don't understand, because we're not really involved in da'wah or taqwa. Because, like, it's not just attending a lecture, man. Like, da'wah is an ongoing, lifelong process of continuing to spread the message of Allah. Okay, it's not just, okay, I'm listening to a lecture or taking a dars here and there. Or, no, this is lifestyle. This is following in the steps of the Prophet. There's no days off. You can't take like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take some days off now. There's no such thing. Even if you do take a day off, it's to recharge so you can go back to the same thing. Right? And most people don't realize that. That's why we're so weak in our Tao. It's always the same people making Tao. Right? And I urge you, if you're listening to this, really consider taqwa, dawah, very, very seriously, you know, as a burden on your back, as a responsibility on your back, on your shoulders. Not just, okay, I listen, some dars, read a bit of Quran, and I am good. No. You need to be very, very, very clear that there's more effort needed to be put in. People have different skills, they know what to do. That's also taqwa. Some people know how to make websites, some people know how to make videos, some people know how to speak, some people, all kinds of stuff. Everyone should put in their effort and their skill. Okay, it's very important. I don't know why people don't take Dao seriously. And if you cannot, then put your money in it. Invest in people who do Dao. Okay, invest in Dao projects. You know, this is people come to me like, oh, I don't know, brother. You keep talking about Dawah. I don't know. I don't know how to do Dawah. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Shy. I don't. Okay. Do you have? Did Allah bless you with money? Yeah, Alhamdulillah, I have money. Alhamdulillah, Allah bless me. Okay, tayyib, give us some money. We have so many projects. Oh, brother, you asking money? Yeah, of course. I mean, how? And speaking of Uthman, Uthman was one of the main founders and the waqf that he established for the Prophet's dawah, Khadija, right? Till the Prophet fought the Battle of Badr, his income was from Khadija. All his money was coming from Khadija radiallahu anha. Okay, it was only after the Battle of Badr and the spoils of war that the Prophet started making his own money from his ghanima. Okay, and there's a clear hadith about this as well. So I tell people, okay, put your money where your mouth is. You keep talking about dawah, shahada. But listen, we need to take it seriously. Seriously. If most people in the world, from the Muslims, would be serious about dawah, we would reach so much more. We would do so much more. Sometime yesterday, I went on a reconnaissance trip outside here in the city to see where could be like a location good for street dawah, which is dangerous, by the way, in this area. It's not really the best idea because there's some really extremist non-Muslims. But never mind, I was so frustrated because I keep seeing Jehovah's Witnesses everywhere on the street with their tables. Even in the mountains, subhanAllah, they were there. You know, I was stopped in the mountains 2 days ago, and it was Jehovah's Witnesses there with their books. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. Right? So yesterday went on reconnaissance, seeing some of the masajid here in the villages and in the city, and it's a perfect area. And I was like, okay, we're gonna buy a kiosk, a small store or something in that area, one of those portable stores, and we will put books, Islamic books and Quran, and hijabs and some perfume, like Islamic stuff, and sell it to. There's so many tourists in those two places, like two big mosques, and it's like a main area. And there's so many tourists who come there, right? And perfect opportunity for street dawah. perfect, but needs money. And everyone's talking, yeah, mashallah, I saw Shahada online, 50 people became Muslim, blah blah blah. I'm like, what do you have to do with it? Well, nothing, I was just watching. Yeah, no, it's not good enough to just watch. Do something about it. Either you go and give Shahada, or donate money, or learn and go and preach, or support Dawah in any way possible. But do something. All of you can do something, right? You guys don't know what to do? Contact me. I'll tell you. There's a lot. But it's not about nothing other than that we should take Dawah seriously. Okay? Like I don't know, really it was upsetting me yesterday. Just it was a reconnaissance trip, just looking, okay, where could be, what could be happening. Then you see all the Muslims lost, drunk, yeah, away from the deen, masajid locked, and then we're like, man, what are we doing? And everyone's just enjoying their life, going on with their own thing. Well, guess what? Oh, but I have a daughter and a son. They have to go to school, and I have to pay the bills. And guess what? The Prophet had daughters and sons, and they died. And it didn't stop him from giving dawah. You and me are Muslims today, maybe because the Prophet didn't stop when his daughter died or his son died. Okay, that's it. We need to take it seriously, guys and girls. Dawah is not a joke. It's a lifelong dedication. Sadly, most people, 95%, according to the stats that I have in my head, that they don't give a damn about that. They don't care. They don't want to. Yeah, they would like to see some videos. Sheikh Uthman debating and fighting with people on the street or whichever sheikh. They love it. Oh yeah, wow, look at, did you see how he responded? Wow, takbir. Okay, what'd you do? Nothing, I was just clapping. No, because the enemies of Islam, they don't take breaks. They continue. The enemies of Islam, they continue. All the time, shaitans take a break. The Muslims take breaks, though. The Prophet didn't take a break. He buried his own daughter. Look at that. Back to dawah right away. Back to leading the community. Back to spreading the message of Islam. So that this message can reach me. And I can say my shahada. And you. Right? So please, take it serious. Take it serious, wallah. Because we will be asked about it. Like I'm here, and that's exactly what I told the locals here yesterday. That means Allah will ask you, especially you guys that are on the ground here. Allah will ask us all about, hey, what'd you do? Oh yeah, I gave a bit of food here. And, yeah, but what'd you do to tell people about Islam? Okay, what did you do? This is the question. I have my answer. Okay, I wish I could do a bit more, though, 100%, but I have my answer. Okay, question is for you guys who's listening to this. What did you do? Right? That's what you need to ask yourself. Now, let's go down. Kulthum. Okay, Kulthum رضي الله عنها. نعم، إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات القانتين والقانتات. This is an ayah that covers both men and women. One woman asked, Ya Rasulullah, Allah mentions men in the Quran, which is true. Okay, because actually it's the men that have the greatest responsibility. So Allah is addressing them directly in the Quran. However, the Prophet ﷺ said that women are also included, of course. That's why these verses now, because in the Arabic language, the female is included with the male and the male is addressed. Okay, it's a language thing. But women got a bit curious and they said, how come it's mostly or only men? And the Prophet said, because women are the twin halves of men, basically, in that sense, and they are referred to when Allah is addressing men. And hence, these verses were revealed to explain clearly that, hey, it's yes, both the believing man and believing women. Okay, it's a praying man and praying women, fasting man and fasting women. It's all of them. There will not be any loss of ajr if they do the right thing. Okay? Now, let's go down. So Kulthum had these excellent attributes mentioned in the verse above. And she was obviously the Prophet ﷺ's daughter. I can imagine Prophet ﷺ as a father, two daughters. I don't know, for those who are listening and have daughters, you know how daughters are, that they're just so different. They just melt your heart. There's a fitna in a way, subhanAllah, for a man when he has daughters, because men, in general, they have this huge inclination and weakness in front of women. Number one, in front of women when it comes to desires and shahawat, obviously. And that is one category. Number two, in front of his daughters, who he loves more than he loves anything, right? And number three, and his mother, obviously, who he loves the most, but she knows how to sometimes upset him. Find a man and his women, he's always at odds with his woman. He's at odds on the street with the fitna. He's at odds in his home with his wife, who's challenging him all the time. He was at odds with his mother, who was obviously above him as his mother. And then even when he grows up, this thing shifts. It's a very interesting dynamics. And then, you know, this is also an issue. So you can imagine the Prophet ﷺ, the love that he had for his daughters and how he would act with them and how he would react to them, seeing them grow. Right? You have to understand, all of his daughters were from Khadija radiallahu anha. You can now understand how much he loved Khadija radiallahu anha. Yeah. It's that bond of having, subhanAllah, 6 daughters. It's a huge bond. Strengthens your love between you and your wife. No. So let's look at 2 events that highlight the personality of Kulthum radiallahu anha. Yeah. When Hafsa, the daughter of Umar ibn Khattab, was widowed, her father offered her in marriage to Uthman, whose wife, Ruqayyah, had just died. He rejected the offer, for he was still grieving over death. Okay? Now, so it was Hafsa and Omar, okay, on one side, Uthman, and Ruqayyah on the other side. So Ruqayyah just died, and also, the Hafsa, her husband, died. But the Uthman radiallahu, he rejected, he couldn't, he loved Ruqayyah so much, so he couldn't. Yeah. Then Omar went to Abu Bakr, made him the same offer. And look how fathers would be, right? Today, huge issues, guys, with the walis, subhanAllah. Just recently I was talking about this. Like the man, and you're not talking here like, senile man, you're talking about like 60s, 50s men. They're not even looking for their daughters for husbands. In some societies, they expect their daughters to date, and you know what I'm talking about, even in Malaysia this happens. For her to find a guy and then to kind of bring him over and, you know, they'll approve. I've seen this. Not everyone, but it is quite a common thing in Malaysia and other countries, where the woman will meet the guy at university, they're courting, they're dating, find this, okay, I think we should be married. Then they bring that person home and say, yeah, I met him, I want to marry him. Then they kind of say the final verdict. Okay? So this is not, look, Umar Khattab is chasing. Let's go to Uthman first. Okay, no. Type Abu Bakr second. All right. What do you think Abu Bakr said? Same thing. He didn't accept. All right. So he was actually angry. But this narration that they already heard and knew that even Abu Bakr, he knew that the Prophet was in a way interested in Hafsa to marry her. Okay. So the Prophet is the one who married her in the end. And obviously he wanted to strengthen his relationship with Umar. But he also knew Hafsa. And you know, this is very important. But this allegiance now will be created between him and Al-Faruq radiallahu anhu, which is Umar Khattab. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ married her and he gave, look at this. It's not like, oh yeah, I'll just take this woman. That's it. He gives his own daughter to Uthman radiallahu anhu to strengthen. Now you see, he made a connection with Omar by marrying his daughter, who's a widow, by the way, okay, not some virgin, never been married. Widow, marries her, okay? Then he gives his own daughter to Uthman. Now they're connected, okay? Right? So you see how they're connected. And of course, the Prophet is married to who? To Aisha radiallahu anha. So Abu Bakr is connected, okay? So the three are connected now for this amazing familial bond. It's a familial bond. And that's why they're always together. They're the best of friends and the best of companions. And that's why they are the best of people. Alhamdulillah. No. Let's go down. Now, and the Prophet ﷺ said, if I had 10 daughters, I would have married them all to him in succession. To who? To Uthman radiallahu anhu. Because now we're looking at, he just buried, okay? He just buried his other daughter and he's marrying his other daughter. Why? Why would you think so? No, the Prophet ﷺ he's a strategist, not just that he's the greatest psychologist or human being that understands the human fitrah on this earth. So obviously he could see through Uthman. He knew exactly what Uthman was. His behavior, his everything was studied by the Prophet. So he knew exactly what he's doing. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to give my daughter just for the sake of some allegiance. No, no. He wanted to keep that allegiance alive with Uthman radiallahu anh. So he gave his own daughter again to him. And if you had had a third one, he probably gave her again to him. No. This is the Prophet. Not only that he was merciful and kind, but he was so smart, so strategic. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. Verily has come to your prophet, the messenger, from amongst yourself. It grieves him, it hurts him that you should receive any injury or difficulty. He is anxious over you to guide you to the straight path. And for the believers, he is full of piety, kind and merciful. This is the end of Surah At-Tawbah. Beautiful, one of my favorite. No. So she basically became the wife of Uthman. Now, let's go down. So Kulthum did not migrate to Abyssinia, faced the pain of being away from the homeland family. She suffered because she had to be there. Okay. So she was there in exile with Banu Hashim. She saw Khadija dying, her mom. She saw the oppression. She saw all the problems that happened with the Banu Hashim clan. Right? It was not like she had an easy life. Okay. However, we know that the Muhajirin, they have this high status in Islam. Now, down, we know what happened. Now, the third of the daughters. This is one incident that came, and it was linked to the revelation of Al-Kawthar. It's the surah that all of you memorized, and you know, Inna a'tayna kal-Kawthar. Inna a'taynaka al-Kawthar. Now, فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. It's beautiful, actually, by the way. A lot of people don't realize because we read it so quickly. It is so short. But if you look even at the structure, Inna a'taynaka, we read it usually Inna a'taynaka al-Kawthar. Inna a'taynaka al-Kawthar. But it's Inna a'taynaka. We have given you al-Kawthar. فصل لربك وانحر. فصل لربك وانحر. إن شانئك هو الأبتر. And this is where the story, the last part, where the asbab and nuzul and the context comes in, that they used to make fun of the Prophet that you've been cut off, i.e. the nasab, the lineage, because he had no boys anymore, right? ما كان محمد أبا أحد الرجال أحد من رجالكم. SubhanAllah, because all his children died in infancy or young age. Yeah. But the Prophet ﷺ was not the father of any of the people anymore because his children died. Well, imagine. I know sometimes it doesn't drive home how difficult this would have been. I would be Allah protect. Now, so the Arabs used to have this shame when a child would be born and it was a female. And we know that that was their practice to bury them sometimes. When the news of the female child is brought to, his face becomes dark and he's filled with grief. Why? Because like appearances. What are people gonna say? Right? That he has daughter. Allah decides daughter or boy. وَلَيْسَ ذَكَرَ كَالْأُنْثَى, we know. وَلَيْسَ ذَكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى, we know that Maryam's mother wanted a boy because only boys would serve in the temple. She wanted to dedicate him to Allah. But she received a girl. And then Maryam later on, growing, she gave birth to one of the greatest men, which is Isa alayhi salam, right? But everything is according to Allah's will, not our will. Yes, a daughter came. Yes, but later when Allah wants. Okay, yes, the boy came, sorry, but when Allah wants, not when you want. Allah is the one who decides when and how. Okay, now let's go down. Down. Now, right, this is the verse. Go up again. Okay, ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله خاتم النبيين وكان الله بكل شيء عليم. This verse clearly states that he's not, the word here is used رجال. Okay, ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم, from your men. Didn't say from your boys or your, because he was at some point, but Ibrahim died. But no one, Allah could have said that the Prophet was just not the father of any of you. Okay, but here specifically the word rijal is used because none of the kids grew up to see rujula. Okay, now let's go down. So every word in the Quran is perfectly chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every word. Now, mistress of the Prophet's household, Kulthum remained with her younger sister Fatima in their father's home in Mecca. She was assisting her mother, Khadija, and all that. Therefore, Kulthum lived with her father and her mother in the worst time of persecution. Okay, and with what Quraysh did, and she saw exactly that happen to her father and her mother. So you can imagine that was also very, very hard for her. But subhanAllah, very different breed than us, very different time. Now, go down. We know the boycott, we know the Prophet was forced out, we know all the insults, not just that, imagine the insults that they were always circulating the city and how difficult that would have been for her. Now, go down. Go down. No, go down. There's the same, they repeat the same story of the clan of Banu Hashim. No. Mutual boycott or rupture of relationships that we know. We've already done this. Go down. Go down. I've already mentioned how Khadija used to obviously supply not only the Prophet ﷺ, but the whole clan that was associated with the Prophet ﷺ. And they would basically like get this camel and put all the provisions on it. And she would spend all her money, by the way. And then they would send this camel to go towards the valley where they were boycotted, and then the Muslims would take the food and distribute it. And you're talking about good 2 years almost of this kind of boycott. No, we wouldn't even begin to understand what 2 years means, because time to some people goes very slow. You got, everything you want. But they had to suffer approximately 2 years. Well, yeah. Let's go down. Okay, go down. Go down. Stay about the boycott. Go down to the next section. I will stop there. Go down. Down, 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 down. Yeah, keep going. This is all talking about just the boycott we've covered in so many different times. The only criticism that I would have of this book is that it keeps repeating the same things over and over again to fill time or to fill pages, which is not a good. I'm not, of course, obviously, it's a great book, but it's just a human being writing it. It was a great human being, mashallah. But also, it's one of the when a person keeps repeating, there's a reason for repetition, as we see in the Quran, as we see the Prophet ﷺ would repeat stuff. But very short here, we keep getting the same stories over and over again, which is good, but it kind of distracts from those main core points. Go down. No. Go down. I want to go to the next section, please. Here. Okay, we've already covered that. The end of the death of Khadija and boycott. Go down. Go down. Down, 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 down. Okay, let's hear here. Migration. Okay. All right, we'll stop here. The migration. Okay, and there's a question which was asked how to explain to your children. Claim that his parent favor one child over the other. Nah, this is normal. Any kids will claim that. They'll say, oh, you liked him more than me, and this and that. This is something very common that sometimes kids will do. And you just, when they're very young, they will not, you cannot rationalize it. They won't understand. You just say, look, it's not true. I love you. And they're looking just for some attention. It's a cry for attention. They need your attention. Just say, no, I'll never do that. I love you. And you basically hug them, and you don't have to rationalize them. No, but I gave you, why are you there? It's later on in life, if these things persist, you can explain with rationality. When they're children, they probably just need more affection, love, and more attention. Yeah. So look at yourself and see, what am I be falling short in terms of attention? And what am I doing? Am I doing something different for the other one? And just rectify it, inshallah. Okay. Barakallah fikum, jazakallah khair, subhanaka wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله جزاك الله خير.
Wa iyyakum.